What's the one that keeps light on?
Motel 6.
Motel 6.
Motel 6.
Keep the light on.
This is what it looks like from your side of the building.
Good evening. A couple of announcements, just by reminder. Next Sunday, covered dish, and also woven into our worship and our fellowship meal will be our Veterans Day salute. And it's going to be a little different. We're going to try to pin our veterans right around the 11 o'clock hour and have them then lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll kind of weave an appropriate sermon around that, and it should be.
Aren't you supposed to be quiet for a minute?
Yeah.
How many veterans do we have?
I'm not sure how many will be here for it, but we've got probably a total of about 14 or 15, if we count everybody. That might be counting like Libby and well, hey, it's good to have our West Virginia visitors tonight, Mike and Donna with us. And, they're headed back tomorrow. They had a kind of a surprise shindig for Fayette and Ed today at Chop House, and it was really nice. Ed just wanted to go to McDonald's and get some ice cream. But it ended up being a really nice, everybody I think enjoyed their meal. It was real nice, and it surprised them. Also, remember midweek this Wednesday, and Jeannie, I feel bad I erased your good map, thinking that I was going to use the board this morning, and I never used the board, so maybe you can do it again for us. And also remember ladies' Bible class, and we've got plenty of time to give the details on that, but I think the plan is this Thursday will be the 8th, and then the 15th you'll meet, but you will not meet, of course, on Thanksgiving Day. And then that study may come to a wrap on the last Thursday of November.
Yes, go ahead.
And then they'll break it for the month of December. Don't forget to the men's breakfast, and as Brian announced this morning, Vic and Brian, our elders, are encouraging all of our men to be present. Don't get too excited about the breakfast part of it. I don't think it's going to be Cracker Barrel-ish or anything, but we're not concerned about that. Maybe just donuts or something like that. And one more thing now, and tonight is going to reflect this. We're going to, our Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving we call it, is going to go on the road this year. We have been wanting to take a group to visit with Alice, Jean, and Elwood, and they're excited about it, and I'm going to be stopping there sometime this week, and I'll leave them a flyer that they can invite people in the assisted living and that whole village to join us. I don't know, we'll find out what kind of venue we're going to be in. And we're only going to sing 12 songs, and some of them are really short songs, so I don't know that we'll be singing more than a half hour. I think we'll be able to sit down if you need to, but some of us may be standing. We'll wait and see what the venue looks like. But I wanted to say a couple things. We want to meet here at 4, and then promptly we'll head out, we'll caravan together, and I know it's going to be dark already. Well, it may not be at 4 o'clock. But some of our seniors who might be going with us, I'm thinking now like Don and Dick. I'm hoping Dick will ride with us. And we don't want them to try to navigate in the dark. It's out. It's right down Highland Avenue. If you went on our Terry tour, we went right by the place where we're going. So it's just like if you get on Highland Avenue, right there by the hot dog shop, and you go south, it's just like 10 minutes, and you're there. And then after we sing and visit, we'll have a few scripture readings and some prayers, and then a little visitation. But I'm hoping that even Alice Jean's going to try to get them a pass where they can go out to eat with us. And we're going to, everybody that is wanting to and able, interested in doing so, we're going to go to Cracker Barrel for some. And if we can get a head count on that Sunday morning, we'll call and give you a heads up as to how many of us might be coming. I don't suspect it'll be too busy that evening, but you never know. But if you want to go, I plan on doing that. When I mentioned that to Alice Jean, she said, well, that's a long ways away, isn't it? And I said, no, it's not really. From where you leave their place, you get on that Mahoney Market Street and cross Meander, and then you're right in Austintown, right close to the Cracker Barrel. So the Cracker Barrel's probably, I would guess, maybe 7 miles from their assisted living. That's all the announcements I have, unless anybody has something you want to add to it. So what we're going to do here tonight, and Nick, I don't know if you want to take part in some of the song reading. You got a sheet with the songs on it? You do have one? Okay. Does he have one? Here, I've got, I think I've got yours. And I don't know if Brian's going to, I don't know how y'all are splitting them up, but whoever wants to lead us tonight. So, you guys need to consult real quick before we, just, Stephen, when you take the floor, you give him up. Okay?
You can start.
And without anything further here, let's spend a little bit of time in study, and then we're going to sing for just a little while. And I want to follow up on this morning, and I'd like this to be more of a, I mean, it will be study and we're going to be thinking, but I'm hoping that I can take some of your thoughts and ideas and make them into a sermon sometime down the road here, not too far away. So if we're talking about a pervasive joy, and I didn't take time to elaborate a whole lot on that this morning, but when we use the word pervasive, the idea I wanted to convey there was that this joy integrates every aspect of our Christian walk. Even joy in suffering, in surrender, in self-denial, in sacrifice, in service. We can't just cubbyhole it and say, okay, we gotta, it is one of the fruit of the Spirit, but I see it as really a wrap to everything we do. And that's where it becomes most effective. And that's where we let our light shine the greatest, when joy infiltrates and permeates everything that we do. That's what causes people to scratch their head and say, what's up with these people? How do they do this? And that is what Paul spoke about as the peace that passes all understanding. There's one passage I want to read here to start, and let me give you a little heads up. I want to ask you, what are some of the things that rob us of joy? Or maybe that's too strong. Let's just say it this way. What are some of the things that distract us from being a joy-filled people as we know we should be, as we walk with Jesus? So be thinking about that, and so you're going to give me some sermon fodder for a future sermon, and I'll take some of your comments and develop it. I'm reading from a very popular, famous passage here that Paul wrote in Romans 8, and I'm at verse 35 and following. What shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? just as it is written, for thy sake we are being put to death all day long. We are considered as sheep to be slaughtered. And then Paul says, but in all of these things, we overwhelmingly conquer through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, things present, things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God which is in Christ Jesus. And that is truly what animates our joy, is it not? That we are so anchored in Christ, whatever the world dishes out, we're able to cope with it because we're anchored in the love of Jesus that cannot be overthrown. We overwhelmingly conquer through him who loved us. So having said that, then let's think about how we can, I chose the word pervasive because I wanted to indicate that it flows through every aspect of our walk. But I feel a little bit of a need to qualify, and I don't mean to let us off the hook in saying it this way, but when I say joy, I mean a preponderance of joy. What would be another way of saying that? In other words, we're more joyful than we are otherwise. We're going to have, as we acknowledged this morning, we're going to have down days. I don't want us to live artificially. I don't want us to be afraid to cry with each other, to even say to one another, I'm down today. I'm really discouraged. I need to be lifted up. We're not trying to live in an unreal world, but the preponderance of our life is going to reflect joy. There will be low ebbs, but by far the predominant thing that would describe us would be that we're a joy-filled people. Bumps along the road, yeah. Some down times, yes, but overall, this is what's going to categorize us. So, without anything further on that, let me ask you, what do you find sometimes distracts you from being as joy-filled as you should be?
Family issues.
Family issues. Now, when you say issues, I'm implying a little bit of negativity there.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? I'm not going to develop all of these tonight. We're just taking some ideas, and then we're going to pray, and then we'll come back at this and develop it in a future lesson. So sometimes our families are so sometimes torn in our world today. Like Margie Pakovich is she is really down right now. She can't get it out of her mind, this problem that her nephew and his wife or girlfriend are having. And she wants so badly for it to work out for the good. But it's one of those things where maybe somebody does something to the other, and then somebody calls the law into the situation, and then there's a restraining order that's put on, and even though the couple might try to resolve it and say, look, I'm really sorry for what happened, and there's forgiveness there, it's like the law is still saying no, and you got to go to court, and we got to figure out if you're going to go to jail or if you're going to be in big trouble for what happened in the past. So it really is a stress-filled thing. So yeah, Vic's comment there covers a lot of ground, doesn't it? What else? Jeannie, would you mind writing these down for me so that I have them later? Linda and then Dick.
Try to be in control yourself instead of letting God be.
Oh, that's a real good briefly. Autonomy, yeah, trying to govern our own lives, we know, trying to be autonomous. God has designed us, the whole book of Proverbs that we used in Bible class today, it's telling people, you look to God. You're not going to be able to figure it out all yourself. So sometimes, and maybe that comes under a broader category that we could talk about the gods of this world or idols. I think sometimes that is an idol, that we kind of go after, and it's not Jehovah God. It's trying to have somebody else take control of our life. Dick and then Vic.
Well, I quit watching politics because I'm sensitive so much. You talk about Bob and Will and Joy, and
Yeah.
it goes to the extremes.
Boy, haven't we all felt that way? No matter where you stand in your politics, there's times where you just say, I just want this election to be over. And you almost reach a cynical point where you almost say, I don't care who wins. Just get it over with. I'm tired of it all. We're just so bombarded. We might say that about the news in general at times. Do you ever feel like I want to watch the news, but that's one of these rites of passage. Nick, you and Haley may not be there yet, but when you get to be older, you actually look forward to the news at night. You don't do that.
We can be blocked out.
Well, maybe that's a blessing. But sometimes even as you get older and you finally say, hey man, I'm really getting to be like my dad, and I can never miss the news. But sometimes when you start to turn it on, you just think, I don't know if I want to put up with this. I just don't know if I want to let it even come in. So yeah, how can we say that? Then politics, let's just be honest about it. Okay, what else? Vic? That was Dick's, wasn't it? Did you have your hand up?
Yeah, on autonomous.
Uh-huh.
Politics, I think, could actually fall under that. It's like that old Frank Sinatra song, I did it my way. So people want to take up on that.
Yeah.
And they're struggling to do it a different way. It doesn't always work out.
Okay. What else? Here's a broad one. People. Sometimes people can just really irritate you, can't they?
Why is it under people? 9 people can pat you on the back. One person give you that kick in the pants. And that's what you 12 is that one person.
Yeah.
Instead of the 9.
And why is that, do you think? Let's think on that more in the days ahead. Why is that maybe connected to this too? We want approval so badly that when just one person criticizes us, it sends us in a tailspin. And you can have a lot of brethren saying, hey, no. But that one criticism just really drives you down. So people in general, sometimes it's silly things. I always pick on Keith about this, but Mark's in that same category really bad. Cars, drivers. Somebody else driving in a way that you don't think is just right can bring out a demon in you, can it? Yeah.
I'm usually 99%.
There you go.
All right, now that says a lot right there, doesn't it?
Over tonight too.
So sometimes it can be relatives, it can be people that are closest to us, it could even be your mate sometimes, but sometimes it can be somebody that you'll never again see in your life, but for a few minutes as they hog the road or do something you don't think's good etiquette on the highway. And that could just spoil our day, really. Hopefully it's not pervasive and we bounce back from it and we realize later on, why did I let that get me all bent out of shape? All right, what else? Work. And that, of course, relates to people too, but maybe not just people. Maybe it's a wage thing. Maybe it's a lack of work. Maybe it's co-workers. managers or
Could be
a boss,
Could be
some,
the work you're doing. Could be the work you're doing.
The
Some
work
people
you're
will
doing.
take a job because they gotta make money,
Yeah.
they don't like the job.
yeah,
You know, that can drive you down.
yeah. Stephen?
Well, I was going to go on the work that happens, and is whether you like the job or not, that work tends to become your identity, either to everyone around you or to yourself too, that if you don't like that, that can really drag you down.
Silly things like recreational events. Some of us Browns fans are so starved, and now we're looking at a Cavaliers team that seems to stink, and we think we got to put up with this for the next, and we're so, sometimes this is using joy in a very superficial way. Our disposition is so built upon the successfulness of somebody that we're rooting for, that when they, I know it sounds silly to argue about this, but how many of you are Browns fans? It's good that we can admit that. It can kind of spoil your fall, can't it? I mean, every new season comes out and you get out your calendar and you remind yourself Browns are playing this team today, and then the next week it's a different team, and you start thinking, what are they? Okay, enough about that. All right, what else? Money. That's a big one. Seems like no matter how much we make, it's never enough. And there's always something. Is it just me? I know it's not, because I heard Vic talking about it the other day. Every time you turn around, something's going wrong in a house or a car. Major expenses that you didn't anticipate. We've been washing dishes by hand. I'm not trying to get sympathy. We can afford a dishwasher. We just haven't done it yet.
He's out there.
But just every time you think everything's running smooth, hot water tank goes on the fritz, dishwasher's bad, just something happens that you're not expecting.
It comes in threes.
Comes in threes. Well, that might be encouraging to note that it just comes in threes, if that's true. All right, what else? So, money, and maybe we just put their things. I always chuckle here that Dobson said something about this, James Dobson, years ago, that things can just come to, we get so many toys and so many things, and sometimes they end up owning us. They become the tail wagging the dog. And he was talking about a swing set. And you put the swing set together, but then you read the fine print and it says you need to lubricate things every so many months and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I always remember hearing my dad saying the easy part is to get a car, the hard part is to keep it going. And of course, maintenance is much better now than it used to be on a lot of cars, although the trouble now is when something breaks, who can fix it on their own? I know Shan thinks he can, but I've been to his house and I've found that he doesn't always be able to deliver. One time I locked myself out of my car, and when it was jimmied, it messed up the door lock, and I had to drive holding onto the side of the door. And I said something to Shan, and I don't know, Burdette, and I think Doug Holstein, and, oh, we build those things. Shan said, you bring it out to my house, we'll get that thing fixed. Don't you pay for what's the word you use for it? A lock special, a locksmith. They're expensive. They tore my car door inside out, had parts. I remember Trudy coming out and looking and saying, oh boy. Turning around and going back in. And after it was all said and done, I had to go to a locksmith. So, yeah, things. things can monopolize and really sap us sometimes. What else? A couple more and then we'll sing.
One thing is, really bad is holding grudges.
Holding grudges.
It's, we're not supposed to be as Christians.
That takes so much.
Mentioned the things that we're doing is carnal, and we as Christians are supposed to think of heaven.
Yeah, yeah. And this can eat you up. And even just falling into a pattern of, I'm thinking here of Paul, I think it's Galatians 4, verse 15. If you bite and devour one another, you will be consumed. Sometimes I'm not just talking about the church here, even in your home environment or your workplace or your place of play, wherever it is. We're not trying to holding grudges here, but if you're just in a grumbling mode, boy, that will rob your joy. Grumbling all the time. Every once in a while, your mate, I hope I'm not the only one that my mate once in a while says, man, what's eating you?
Negative much?
What?
Negative much?
Yeah. That's a two-way street. All right, Nick.
I've got another one. We went to an 80th birthday party yesterday. And the guy, did you mind spring? This is his 80th birthday party, so they had the catering and all that. Well, he put up his first job, he got paid 25 cents an hour. And now my brother, they don't have, he's like, you could walk around parking lots and look for change between 25 cents an hour. What job could possibly worth 25 cents an hour? But then I think he said he made like $1 an hour and thought he was really making it. I mean, it's appreciate, what we're doing today, but a big one I think is sin.
Sin?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of flows from things like this, but when we're doing something wrong, how can you be joyful? If joy comes from obedience, there's no way that you can be pervasively joyful if you're living in sin.
At the fire department, there was guys, cheat on their wives and that kind of stuff. And there was one guy that was a good friend of there that he wasn't a Christian, but he was like, I would never ever cheat on my wife. And he said, I couldn't, if I cheat on my wife, I feel so guilty and feel so just bad about myself forever. He's like, I don't want to look at my wife ever again. He's like, I couldn't, like, it was wrong. You're married to and taken away.
Very good. Did anybody have, I've got one, I'm surprised nobody's added this. I'm going to put a broad one up here, and that's just circumstances. And these circumstances, these come and go, and it's kind of like the driving incident, it could be anything. Haley?
I'm sorry, I was fixing my hair. Sorry.
Say it again.
I was just fixing my hair.
Oh, okay.
Hair problems.
I thought
That's
you said,
definitely a joy ride right there.
my hearing's going bad, but I thought you said in your small voice, sunshine. Or the lack thereof. That's why we have snowbirds. Some days lately. Today, wasn't it beautiful to see sun? Yeah, that can have an effect on you. That might be one of these circumstances that we're talking about. Okay, we've got just a little more time. Vic and Trudy and Linda. Linda, you were ahead. Gossip. We put that over here with us. We could list a whole bunch of sins. Well, this might be a sermon series. Okay, Trudy?
I was thinking about that grumbling. Well, because we're snowbirds, and we had a neighbor that grumbled about everything.
Down there?
Yeah, down there. No matter what you did, she would report you. And I found out 2 houses on a payment, and I got reports from her. And I was okay. And I talked to Shannon, I said, you know what? Now I'm going to have at her. If I make cake, they got some. And if I made extra soup, and they got some. And you know, I could see her changing when she found someone that, you know, that.
Now, that's-
Big deal.
That's putting scripture to work, isn't it? We know that's what it says. Heap coals of fire on their head. Sounds like a bad thing, but it's really a good thing. And yet, so often we don't do it. Vic, and then if nobody's got it, I've got one more.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't belong to
Death, and we'll couple with this, just serious sickness, serious illness, okay? So let's just put disease. It's easy for me to stand up there and say we have to have prevalent joy, but when you're dealing with cancer and you know your days are numbered, you really have to work at keeping your focus where it ought to be. Vic?
Most of these are just temporary things.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're letting these things rob us of our joy.
That's right.
And I just wrote a little note there, the life scale should be tipped towards joy. And joy should be the thumb that tips our scale.
There you go.
And
That's a
we
good
can
way to
go
say it.
through these things, but we know we have that blessing of Christ that gives us the
Very
joy.
good. Nick, one more.
Mine was health, you said disease.
Yeah, okay. One that's on here, that's not on here, that's a biggie, and that's worry. We are a very anxious society. And worry, and Jesus talked about this at length, didn't he? Why are you anxious? Peter talks about casting your cares upon the Lord. Okay, that's been very, very helpful, and I hope it's been thoughtful for all of us to think how we can battle these as we try to be a people who are full of joy. Okay, thank you so much.
See, you want to do it for? Right. The last one. I'll do the last one. This one.
Okay, so I'll do the first four, you'll do them, okay?
Yeah, you're up.
We don't know yet if we're going to take our books or if we're going to have handouts, but I think we're going to be locked into these particular songs, and we've chosen oldies but goodies, ones that we know really well. So we're just going to stay with the familiar. We don't want this to be depicted as like we're trying to entertain anybody, but we want to put our best foot forward.
Just for my own practice sake, I'm gonna go without the podium here in case we don't have something like that, so. We'll do 51 and go right into 52, since those two are in the same key. So 51, then right into 52.
And Stephen, I am interested in, let's look at the clock and see where we're at when we get done.
Okay.
What are we starting at?
It is 7:05. Just remember to add some times too for the scripture reading and prayers, though
Yeah.
prayers are, you don't have a lot of times. Father of mercies, day by day, my love to thee grows more and more. Thy gifts are strewn upon my way, like sands upon the great seashore, like sands upon the great seashore.
brother and friend, thy light, thy love, beaming through all thy works we see. Thy glory gilds the heavens above, and all the earth is full of thee. Thy voice we hear, thy presence feel, while thou too pure for mortal sight, enwrapped in clouds invisible, reignest the Lord of light and light. Thy children shall not faint nor fear, sustained by this delightful thought, since thou their God art everywhere, they cannot be where thou art not.
Okay. So number 54, and then Mark number 103, we'll go right to that one. Terry, do you want these shorter ones one time through or 2 times through?
Let's just go one time through for now.
Okay. So 54, then 103. 54, then 103. After this bride's up.
We bring sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord. We bring sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord. And we offer up to you the sacrifices of thanksgiving. And we offer up to you the sacrifices of joy. I will enter his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I will enter his courts with praise. I will say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. He has made me glad. He has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. He has made me glad. He has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad.
I would have clapped.
And by the way, everybody, let's be thinking next Sunday in particular, let's encourage others to join us that evening, if at all possible. It'd be great to take a big group.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday, we'll encourage them. This is going to be on the 18th. But the singing is on the 18th. But next Sunday, during cover dish, let's encourage it. And if anybody needs a ride, tell them you'll carpool, you'll give them a lift. And,
Okay, number 64.
I worship you, Almighty God. There is none like you. I worship you, O Prince of Peace. That is what I want to do. I give you praise, for you are my righteousness. I worship you, Almighty God. There is none like you.
Number 67.
For the beauty of the earth, for the Verse 68. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because He's given Jesus Christ, His Son. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because He's given Jesus Christ, His Son. And now let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich, because of what the Lord has done for us. And now let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich, because of what the Lord has done for us. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Just three, okay. 781. 781. For all that you've done, I will thank you. For all that you're going to do. For all that you promised and all that you are is all that has carried me through. Jesus, I thank you. And I thank you, Lord. And I thank you, Lord. Thank you for loving and setting me free. Thank you for giving your life just for me. Now I thank you. Jesus, I thank you. Gratefully thank you. Thank you. So, do we have all the cards here today? We've got Sopranos. And do we have Sopranos? Have we seen the next one? We've got Marvelous Things next. Sorry, 209. Marvelous Things. We have all the cards. It's nice to know before we start.
If we don't have it that night, don't.
Yeah. We have Sopranos here tonight, yes. We have altos. We have tenors. We have basses. Two of them.
Two times on each one.
Yeah, let's do two on each one. That sounds good. I'll try to fade out the one we've got. Let's do the three. Sopranos first. He has done marvelous, He has done marvelous things. Praise the Lord. He has done marvelous, He has done marvelous things. Praise the Lord. Marvelous. Marvelous. Okay, so yeah, we gotta stay with the sopranos.
I've never sang sopranos. I've always sang
Okay,
alto.
so
got a couple who will stick with the soprano and not bail out on us. When we get out.
Keep an eye on the soprano.
Okay, here we go. There we go. Yeah, we'll see.
And let's not drag it.
Okay, a little quicker. We can do that. He has done marvelous. He has done marvelous things. Praise the Lord. He has done marvelous. He has done marvelous things. Praise the Lord. Marvelous, 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 marvelous things. Praise the Lord. Marvelous, 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 marvelous things. Praise the Lord. He's done marvelous. He has done marvelous things. Praise the Lord. He's done marvelous. He has done marvelous things. Praise the Lord. He's has marvelous, marvelous things. Praise the Lord. You know that He's has marvelous, marvelous things. Praise the Lord. Awesome. So let's recruit some
Let's
people
skip
to
that
come
one.
along. Yeah,
Let's skip that one.
I'm okay with that.
You guys sound good.
You need a lot more than what we got.
We're gonna need a lot of prayer between.
If you had 4 leaders,
Yeah. 273.
What was that?
273. Lord, you are more precious than silver. Lord, you are more costly than gold. Lord, you are more beautiful than diamonds, and nothing I desire compares with you. And 275. Oh Lord, Lord, beautiful, right next door. Oh Lord, you're beautiful. Your face is all I see. And when your eyes are on this child, your grace abounds to me.
Now, with the thought that we might eliminate marvelous things, let's do this one more time and then we'll flip over and do the refrain on turn your eyes instead of marvelous things.
All right, let's try that. You want to do it right now? 275
Yeah,
to
let's do both those
276.
together.
Oh Lord, you're beautiful. Your face is all I see. And when your eyes are on this child, your grace abounds to me.
lead us in a prayer?
When upon life's billows you are tempest tossed, when you are discouraged, thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God hath done. Are you ever burdened with a load of care? Does the cross seem heavy you are called to bear? Count your many blessings, every doubt will fly, and you will be singing as the days go by. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God hath done. So amid the conflict, whether great or small, do not be discouraged, God is over all. Count your many blessings, angels will attend, help and comfort give you to your journey's end. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God hath done.
One more song before prayer.
Would you like?
7:44 minutes. Let's pray.
I like doing that.
Terry, that took about 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay, that's good. We take
7:44?
7:44?
Yeah, one verse. 7:44.
Say it again. Let's give it a shot.
You did it.
I'm summing up. Yeah. He sung that part, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds familiar. And then I looked the next note, and I'm like, that doesn't look familiar. Do the first verse.
End on the high.
We're part of the family that's been born again. Part of the family whose love knows no end. For Jesus has saved us and made us His own. Now we're part of
be here again tonight to listen to your words and sing praises to your name. We are grateful that we can come together as brothers and sisters in Christ and worship you. That we know that we come together to worship you and to love you and to honor you. And we are joyful in our knowing that we are a family and we come together in one time, and that the time that has come to us, that we've come home to you. Thank you again, Father, for your Son who died in our stead and pardoned us from our sins. In his precious name we pray.